Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this evening and welcome to the closing ceremony for the 2024 Climate Heroes Community Climate Challenge. I first want to start off by saying a huge thank you to everybody who's been involved, to all of you who've signed up your teams, who've logged your actions, and in some cases just gone absolutely above and beyond to participate and share in the Climate Heroes challenge. So a big boulabos and a big well done to all of you. Thank you so much. I suppose just with today's session, I want to just first maybe report some of the results that have come out of the challenge and dig into those a little bit. And then I'd also like to have a little bit of a reflection around what has participating in Climate Heroes meant to you. And then we'll finish up with the all-important announcement of our results for the competition as well. So yeah, so let's get started. There it is. So there's somebody on there we go. I'm just going to mute everyone. Apologies for that, but there's a little bit of interference on the line. So yes, so here we go, Climate Heroes 2024. So first off, we had amazing participation from everyone involved. We had 443 people by the end of the competition logging actions, and those were distributed across 59 teams that were all around the country, really. So it was great to see that level of engagement. Thinking about some of the actions that have been logged, I think was really interesting to get this bird's eye view. We saw that the action that was logged the most from everybody at 1,900 times was recycling as much waste as people possibly could. We saw that lots of people were turning off lights that were unnecessary, not printing unnecessary paper. And nice, maybe sounds a little bit easy, but sometimes it's just good to have that printed copy, but people really trying not to print unnecessary paper. We see that lots of people are moving away from using disposable plastics, which is a really heartening result. 1,650 nearly people have logged that. And people are also making a real effort to combat their food waste, which I was so heartened to see as well. And that that action of not throwing away food was logged 1,509 times. So really great to see that in areas of energy and consumption and food waste as well, people are really making an effort to do these actions across the length and breadth of the country. I also think it's interesting to look a little bit more into some of the actions that haven't been logged very much, and I took these from the bottom section of the report. But we saw that well, there was a couple of ones around taking public transport and electric bikes to school, and obviously that doesn't apply to most people in the competition. But we did actually have a school who had entered themselves as well, and we're doing this within the school context. So riding electric bikes was logged a few times. We also saw that taking public transport to school was also logged a couple of times. Also really interesting, electric cars and electric bikes. It seems like they're a lot more prevalent around the place. But actually people logging electric car to work was only logged 54 times. And not many people at all rode electric bikes to work or to leisure activities. So interesting to see that that was something that, you know, maybe for obvious reasons, a lot of people perhaps don't have access to electric bikes or electric cars. Or maybe people feel like that's not a huge part of their life, and that there's other ways that are, you know, say walking or public transport to work that have been logged a lot more as well. So really interesting to see what has been logged and what hasn't been logged as well. I love this headline number. For me, this idea that over the course of the competition, the 10 days that the competition ran, you Climate Heroes collectively prevented the release of 43,216 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent. So in terms of calculating this result, the algorithm takes the actions and obviously recognizes that not everything, you know, for food and food waste and food production, for example, not everything has a carbon dioxide value, but many of those, say, methane emissions can be converted into carbon dioxide. So that's what we mean when we talk about carbon dioxide equivalents. Um, and so by logging the actions and by taking the daily tiny actions that you've been taking in your own lives, the alternative, you've prevented the release of 43,216 kilograms. But that's a huge number, and often it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around a little bit as well. So we like to maybe kind of break it down a little bit. And that would be equivalent to the emissions from if you drove a petrol car for 110,528 kilometers. So just as a frame of reference, I believe one of the longest roads in the world goes from the northern point of Alaska to the southern point of Argentina along the Pacific Ocean there. And I believe that's about 30,000 kilometers long. So if you did that down and up and down and up halfway again, then you would come to something like 110,528 kilometers in your petrol car, which is quite a big journey. That's also the equivalent to the emissions of powering 8.5 homes for 1 year. Now, this might not be entirely accurate because I was using the carbon emissions equivalencies calculated during using a US based calculator. So about 8.5 homes for 1 year might translate to something a little bit different in the Irish context, but still, I think it kind of gives us a ballpark idea of how much carbon dioxide emissions that have been prevented from the use of our energy. And then plugging your smartphone in and charging it from 0 to 100%, you could do that 2,852,977 times with the carbon dioxide that you climate heroes have prevented the emission from. So that's I'm pretty pleased with that big number as well. So I just think congratulations on all of those things. I think that's really some really amazing stats there. Um, in terms of where people were saving carbon dioxide, we broke it down by county and came up with this quite fancy little map. Um, and as you can see, the darker colors there are the counties that have had higher savings or logged higher savings through the Climate Heroes competition, and the paler countries then are counties that logged lower carbon dioxide saving actions. And as you can see, the two sort of standout areas were North County Dublin. So I believe that's kind of the Fingal county area. And then we also have Donegal up in the up there as well. We've had some superb participation from organizations up there as well. And then yeah, lots of groups in between as well. I think Galway did really well. Yeah, but I think congratulations to people in all of those counties as well. Couple of blank spots there that we need to address for next year, but there you go. Um, oh, this is something that made me so happy. So there's a residents association, Myrtle the Coast, who have just been really active in the Climate Heroes in logging their actions, and in they did a video for sort of to show how they had recorded some of their actions, which is on our Act Together Facebook group, which I'll actually share in the chat in a moment. Um, but yeah, and these videos showed participants how to gave some ideas for logging actions and ways that you might do that. But also one thing that they did that I thought was really amazing was they held a little children's competition connected to Climate Heroes, and the children in the area were making pictures about what does it mean to be a climate hero. And I just thought some of these that came out of there were really nice. Some of the actions that were meaningful to the young people: saving the bees, switching off lights, picking up litter. Oh, there's a little Haribo in the bottom. Great. No smoking or vaping or littering. And that this equals no diesel or petrol, and this equals a healthy environment. And yeah, just a few more then. One from Michael. I really like Michael's light bulb that has two different versions of Earth. A real contrast there. And Maisie and Arthur as well. So thank you so much, both to Myrtle the Coast Residents Association for holding that competition, and to the young people for putting those pictures together. I thought it was so great. I want to maybe just open it up to the floor for a second, because I think it's really important with a lot of these when we're engaged in climate actions, to maybe kind of take a second and take a step back from it and sort of have a bit of a reflection and maybe kind of be a little bit honest with yourself and maybe also with other people about what the process has meant to you, and maybe kind of try to verbalize in a way some effects that it might have had on yourself. So we use this reflection model called the head, the heart, and the hands. And the head kind of connects with what knowledge have you learned, or thoughts have you sort of thought about? With your heart, how have your feelings shifted as a result of engaging in climate action? And then also maybe with your hands, what habits, what will you do, or what have you done, or what will you do with your learning from this process? So I suppose just with this model, I'd open up with a couple of questions to you, and I'd love to hear any thoughts that you might have. What's one thing you've learned or thought while engaging in Climate Heroes? Is there anything you felt during the competition? And are there any habits that you have tried that you would like to continue moving on into the future? So I'll just give you a second to think, and then if you have something to say around that, it would be so amazing to hear it. Thanks.
Will I start?
I would love it. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Okay, so the one thing that I've learned, I've really been very aware of the use of water. Not that I would have been overusing it or anything like that, but even just simple things around the house, in the kitchen, washing, um, showering, all of that sort of thing. I really was very, very aware of the use of water. And I'm not using as much as I did. In simple actions around the house mainly. Um, what I felt during the competition, I loved this. There was only 4 of us in our group, but we actually set up a WhatsApp group, and somebody put in something some evening or whatever, and the support we got from each other was great, and also from we were in a community garden, and we'd meet on a Sunday, and the rest of the people in the garden would ask us how we're doing and what we're doing, and they'd love to become involved, but like, they do a lot. People who are in community gardens already do a lot of things anyway. And the habits that I'd continue would definitely be conserving water. The recycling would be very, very important as well as loads of other things. But they're the main things that hit me when I see your questions there, Alex.
Thanks so much, Sheila. Thanks so much for sharing, and also linking that idea of community into your own reflection.
Alex, I can share a couple of items. Patricia here.
Hi, Patricia. Yes, love to. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I suppose the one thing that I thought about it was to keep rethinking how whatever waste we had could be repaired to use for something else. Not so much to do with household waste, but items within the house. So I did a lot of sewing and stuff to get the kind of the credit around mending, but it's really made me think of, even though I don't buy a lot, I'm really looking at how can I actually reuse or reuse what I have. So that was really one thing about rethinking and keeping to things. So within the group, I know we all were kind of figuring out how we could reuse stuff, upcycle or just mend. And even though we said we had time to do it, some younger people may not have time to do it with young families, but we said at least if one group in the family chain was doing it, the younger generation would see that. So in one lady, her grandchildren were coming to give her lots of stuff to mend because the mom hasn't got time, but she got a couple of extra points because she was doing that. How I felt during the competition, again, like Sheila, was just really community with our own group and chatting about what we were doing and what we could do. So that was community spirit was what I felt. And then I'm just, the habits is just all the time rethinking and continue with most of them where possible, and try and rethink where I couldn't contribute, maybe just think, how can I contribute? One thing I was surprised of is when you didn't buy, you got less points than buying secondhand. I know the reason was to change our, we vote with our money, but I couldn't understand why not buying and reducing consumption had less points than buying secondhand. And I know the theory was meant to kind of demonstrate to society that we're changing habits, but
Yeah,
just don't
that's
understand that one.
That's a really interesting one, Patricia. And I think the actions, I think you can still go into the platform and look a little bit behind the actions and how they calculate some of the data on the actions. So the answer might be there. And if not, I can look into it, because that's a very good question. Thanks also for reminding me that I have a big pile of mending downstairs that I need to get to. But where's the time? Thank you so much, Patricia. Really, really appreciate that. Does anybody else want to share any? You don't have to answer all three of those questions. Just any one of those even would be amazing to hear your insights.
Hi, Alex. Oh, sorry, Ashley, you go on.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, this is our second year doing it. We did it last year, as you know, and this is our second year. And for us, it's a big part of it is getting the community involved and coming together for it, as some of the others have said, and just showcasing how the small changes can make a big difference when they're all combined with everybody else, I think is a big thing for us. For me personally, on the kind of food aspect of stuff, it's kind of made me think about where my food's coming from, and actually how difficult it is to find local produce where I am, I suppose. And the fact that we have to drive to get to the local produce is a bit of a pain when it comes to kind of climate action. Because I know like our local greengrocer has had to close down just a couple of months ago because of, you know, increasing costs and everything. So I suppose it's highlighted to me the importance of small local businesses, and obviously, you know, supporting them and trying to find places that we can get kind of fresh produce and kind of local grown produce and stuff. So that's just a kind of personal thing that's come up for me, I suppose.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Really, really great reflection. That's yeah, thank you. Aisling, you were going to jump in there.
Yeah, so we're a newly formed residents association in Santry. I suppose I put it forward to them, I don't know, with Scouts last year. I suppose just to highlight on people's habits and trying to adapt to it, but it's quite interesting because when it stems back to my own home, to kind of get my own family to change their own habits and make them more aware. So it kind of came a bit of a competition then within our own household, who could be better at the environment. And I suppose one observation like that we have on it as well, it'd be great, don't know if we can go into that space, but kind of a litter collect as well. Removing litter, like even if you've done a 2-minute street clean or something. We done a clean up the weekend and we removed 157 bags of rubbish from the area. So it could be a good, nice piece as well if people had time, or just done it as a weekly challenge thing or something. My 2 cents on it.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Aisling. Yeah, we'll definitely feed that back to Ducky, who developed the platform and sort of assign calculations or carbon emissions to actions, and we'll see how they come out of that. Obviously, not every litter pick is the same, and that's a tremendous amount of litter that you picked as well. So yeah, great. And I love also that kind of idea of going above and beyond, and you know, this is one thing, but that's again something else. So thank you so much. Did anybody else want to share any of their reflections or feelings or thoughts?
Yes, I could go. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly, Felicity.
Hi, I'm Felicity, and I'm part of Sheila's team. So the one thing that I really learned this time was, and I was totally unaware of it, was when you put your washing in the washer, that you the denims inside out. So that was good. I never knew about that one.
To protect the material, is it?
Exactly, and they last longer. I never even knew that. Yeah, and I actually felt, how did I feel? I felt really good, because I've always been, I mean, I'm known as the person who always at my sister's house, the lights are on. I switch them off, and I say, "Why are your lights on? So there's no need, you know, the sun's shining. Why are your lights on?" But anyway, so I've always reused for many years now, reused, and especially plastics and thing. You know, if I don't want to throw it away, if I can reuse it, and it was nice. The community feeling was great because there were only 4 of us at the Broadmeadow Community Garden, and it was a great camaraderie, and I really enjoyed that. And the habit that will continue, I'll continue doing what I do, and as well as the washing, well, the clothes, you know, now I'm aware of that, so clothes will last longer. Yeah. Thank you so
Amazing.
much.
Thank you so much, Felicity. Really, really appreciate that. And I hadn't thought about that. And maybe my genes do go inside out, but maybe not intentionally. But great to have that. So thank you so much. Any other, did anybody want to share any
Just-
other? Yeah.
Just one
Ed.
thought there, Alex. Regarding the travel, I know it's based on the average or the statistical average distance, and that makes sense for running the competition. But I couldn't see anywhere where they assumed what distance it was. I suppose the reason I was interested in it is that in living in the countryside, our distances tend to be quite large, I would say, compared to the average. And it would be nice to know what was our real saving.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether they're basing it on a 5K commute or what distance it is, but
yeah, I'm not fully sure of exactly that dimension of it, Ed, and that's a great question. And I think one thing that's also really and I think kind of Patricia maybe alluded to it a little bit as well in her contribution, but it is interesting to kind of shine a light on how, you know, where you live, or you know, say maybe also kind of your income in terms of the food that you can have access to. You know, what actions are available to you as a result of, say, your income and where you're living, and what actions maybe are more cut off, or maybe more difficult to measure in this case as well. So I think there is like a real some people have access to doing things that maybe other people don't, which I think is a really great point. Thank you so much, Ed. Time for maybe one more reflection, if anybody is keen to share.
To clarify, Alex, for the commute, we're taking an average of 10 kilometers distance between home and work.
Thank you very much, Hans. This is
Thanks.
Hans, my colleague here.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, anybody else? Just leave that open there. Oh,
Hi, hello, Alex.
Hi, Leslie.
Hope you
Hi,
can
Leslie.
hear
How
me.
are you? Yep, loud and
Hi,
clear.
my name is Lesia, and I'm from the Climate for You team. And just to share my reflection, this is the first year I was doing it along with my, I think, Asian friends. And I have to say, not that I feel good because we made such an impact, but we actually enjoyed it because we had a chat in the messenger. We had so much fun encouraging each other, you know, checking up on everybody. And definitely I did develop some good habits, and I did take out some recycling out of the house. There was planning for weeks to do, but this challenge kind of disciplined me in terms of, okay, I need to do this, like everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. And definitely I hope that is going to sustain as a habit, and going to be some impact, good impact to our planet.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lesia. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing. It's that's so great for me to hear what that has meant to some of you, and I really, really appreciate your contributions. Thank you so much. Maybe I might, I haven't actually told him that I was going to do this, but I might invite our CEO, Hans, who just was on the call, who is still on the call with us, to maybe just say a few words before we announce the winners. I don't know if you, sorry to put you on the spot, Hans.
Thanks for that, Alex. And just to reiterate how excited we are that so many groups took part, more individuals, more groups, and more counties than last year. So we believe it's a great success, and hopefully, I'm also really impressed with the comments from people already. So hopefully that meant that you enjoyed taking part in the challenge. We think it's a nice mix of education, but also fun and peer pressure. So no, listen, just to say thank you very much for being part of the challenge, and yeah, let's get on with finding out who won this thing.
All right, let's do it. Excellent. Thank you, Hans. Perfect. Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for, announcing the winners of the Climate Heroes 2024 competition. Drum roll, please. Thanks for joining us, Mary. And yeah, announcing the winners. So in third place, with an average of, and oh, sorry, just to say that these scores are calculated on an average saving. So even if you have 18 people in your team versus 4 people in your team, we average the total for the team to understand who the winning teams are. So in third place, Lorcan Estates Resident Association contributed 245.6 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per person. Each of their teams saved that much. So a big round of applause for everyone there. Thank you so much. Well done, Lorcan Estates. Is there anybody from Lorcan Estates on the call who wants to? Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Excellent.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I say everyone's going to be delighted when they find out. Obviously, we're going to keep it going with our actions at the moment. So yeah, fantastic news, especially a new association that's just established in Santry. So it's a great kind of, we're moving in the right direction. So thank you very much.
Well done. Yeah, excellent work. Thank you so much. And great job, Aisling, and all of the Lorcan Estates Residents Association. So in second place, drum roll, please, we have the Coast Climate Champions with 248.8 kilograms carbon dioxide equivalent per person. And I believe, Samantha, that's your group?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. I think there's a couple of us on the call tonight, but yeah, that's our group, and we came third last year, so we're delighted to have gone up a place this year. But yeah, thank you very much. That's brilliant. Delighted.
Thank you. Well done. Excellent work. Very, very good. Brilliant, brilliant work from yourselves. And so finally, in first place, the winners of the 2024 Climate Heroes Community Competition was the Climate for You team, who prevented the release of 248.8 kilograms. No. Oh dear. I've messed up the results. I have, oh dear. Sorry, I made a mistake there. It was slightly more. I think it was 252 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per person, I believe. But Climate for You, was there somebody from Climate for You on the call?
Hi, Alex. Again,
Lesia, that's you again.
I am from the team. I think there's a few of us here. Our head and the captain, she's serving shift, so she's not present. But it's very nice, not just to win the competition, but just to make such a positive impact, as you mentioned earlier. So we're delighted. My first year, so definitely we'll be keeping on, and I know others in the team are very committed to do so.
Amazing. Great work from your team.
Thank you so much for organizing. Thank you for looking after, for all the support, technical support, even, and yeah, for bringing some fun in our life.
Well, yeah, thank you for bringing the fun, because that's all on you guys as well. So yes,
I
Hans.
have the correct score for Climate for You, the 260.9. So a whopping 260.9 kilograms per person.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for that, Hans. And brilliant. So yeah, so these are the top 3 teams, but you know, every single person on every single team contributed huge amounts and contributed to that big headline figure of 46,000 kilograms total. So yeah, just a big round of applause to everybody who's involved. So there's my round of applause. We will be organizing an award ceremony. We weren't sure where the winners were going to be, but we will contact each of the winners and figure out a way to present you with one of our awards. They've been designed by the Rediscovery Centre out of reused materials, and so they're quite nice, actually. So we look forward to sharing those with you in the days to come, and we'll share more. We'll probably send out just a summary email, and if you're looking for yeah, I suppose maybe just Oh yeah, that was the slide there. Sorry, 260.9. I did keep that slide in as well. I wanted to have everybody in this list, but it just went on for ages, so I could only put in the top 10 or 15 teams there as well. But well done to everyone. Just to maybe wrap up then for the day, for the evening, there's a couple of things. First of all, I'd really like to hear some feedback on the competition. So there's a couple of ways you could do this. I have a QR code there on the screen, which you could scan with your mobile phone, but also in the chat, I'm just popping a feedback form. This is our standard feedback form for this project. So it talks about during the training, but obviously maybe the training doesn't quite apply here, but the training, I suppose, is Climate Heroes. So if you read the words the training in our feedback form, then just kind of interpret it to mean the climate competition. But it would be really, really helpful to hear how, like, to measure a little bit around how your perspectives have shifted, and then also how there's a segment at the end as well where you can make specific recommendations about things we might do differently next year, and yeah, anything that's sort of a little bit more open as well. So if you do get a moment, please do take some time to fill that out. That would be really, really helpful for us and for our organization. I also just wanted to say that this Climate Heroes competition is funded by Irish Aid as part of our adult education project. And with this, we connect with community groups such as yourselves, and we try to build both the groups and maybe through them, sometimes the wider community as well, try to build the knowledge, values, and attitudes and skills around global citizenship for climate action. So trying to kind of get that idea of the big interconnected world that we're living in and what it means as you're acting in your communities. And so our workshops are free through our Irish Aid funding. And we'd be really delighted to come out to your community, to your area. We can discuss, we can facilitate sessions around things like waste or consumption or transport or any of these things as well, looking at this through kind of a justice lens and kind of connecting that big picture to those actions that we were taking through the Climate Heroes competition. And then I guess that's all to say, except thank you so much. We really, really hope to see you at next year's competition. One piece of concrete feedback that we have had is that it might be better if we were holding it earlier in the year, because around now is when Tidy Towns groups are putting in their application, and a lot of Tidy Towns groups have said to us that we'd like to be able to say this to the Tidy Towns competition that we participated in this. So to allow for that and for that to go and not overlap too much with applications, we might move it forward by a month or two next year. And that might also make turning off the heating a little bit more difficult as well. But sure, we'll come to that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I suppose that's it. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again, not only to the winners, but absolutely everybody. It's lovely to have the competition with you, and we look forward to engaging with you just that little bit more in the future. I put a link for our workshops in the chat. And if you search for the Act Together Facebook group, that's another place where we can continue connecting as well. So thanks so much. Best of luck, everyone. And it was lovely to have you along.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.